Hey, what's up? How are you, Owen? Can you hear me? Hi, can you hear me? Hey, what's up, baller? Thanks for coming in. Hey, what's up? How are you, Owen? Can you hear me?
Oh man.
Yeah, you could throw a dodgeball at me. Why not? I'll probably dodge it. Stop posting about ballers? I don't think I posted it about a ball. Maybe. Yeet! What's up, baller? I don't know who's posting about ballers because I'm not.
Apparently, it's impossible.
When parents find out you're an
So following in Matt's foot.
when parents find out you're an actual genius.
I am the best at the ABC game, and I'm here to prove it.
Halloween parties all weekend. Halloween parties all weekend. That's really cool. I'm a chef. At an Italian restaurant. Yeah, mine should be too. But I'm lonely. I don't have a wife and kids. I'm in Arizona. I grew up in California. I'm in Prescott. I love it here way more than I liked California. It's beautiful. I try. Thank you. I appreciate you checking on me. I'm 36. I'm here if you need anything.
That's it, guys. I am sick and tired of people duetting me and getting millions of views for doing absolutely nothing. That's it, guys. I am sick and tired. That's it, guys. I am sick and tired. Apparently, this filter exposed your lock screen, but I think it's stupid. Wait, Liam took a screenshot? He wasn't supposed to take a screenshot of the... I have the fastest fingers of the zap, and nobody can beat me with their eyes closed. Yeah. Oh! 2.04! Nobody can beat me with their eyes closed. I have the fastest fingers of the zap, and nobody can beat me with their eyes closed. Yeah! Oh! I have the fastest fingers of the... I have the fastest fingers of the zap, and nobody can beat me with their eyes closed. Yeah! Oh! 2.04! Nobody can beat me with their eyes closed. I have the fastest fingers of the Zap, and nobody can beat me with their eyes closed. Yeah! Oh! 2.04! Nobody can beat me with their eyes closed. I have the fastest fingers of the Zap, and nobody can beat me with their eyes closed. Yeah! Oh! I have the apparently this. I have the fastest fingers of the Zap, and nobody can beat me with their eyes closed. Yeah! Oh! 2.04! Nobody can beat me with...
I'm moving my videos from here to YouTube. It's a long process. I do it like twice a month. Yeah, Arby's. I have fat fingers. I missed my phone number. I added a 2. I got 13K on. I want a silver button. YouTube is mean though. The comments are a lot worse.
So following in Matt's foot... I am the best at the ABC game, and...
$32,000 on YouTube's like 350,000 on TikTok. Hey, baller, what's up? Hey, Sizzle.
$1,000 price tag, these are the greediest things found in video games, and we'll start with Fallout 76, considered to be one of the worst game launches of all time. Aside from countless bugs and server issues, Bethesda added the shadiest microtransactions despite the game already costing $60. The Atomic Shop let you buy emotes and skins for extra money, which nearly caused the game's fanbase to riot. Tons of items had fake prices, pretending to be 50 or 30% off, but it got even worse because pay-to-win items could also be found here, like the Repair Kit. To make things even more shady, the Power Armor edition of the game cost $200, which included a helmet and a high-quality duffel bag. But when players actually received it, the bag was a cheap knockoff. So, to apologize, Bethesda slapped players in the face with $5 of in-game currency, which wasn't even enough to buy an in-game bag, never mind a real one. And that's not even half as bad as what EA did to Battlefront 2. It was one of the most highly anticipated games, improving on everything from the first Battlefront, except EA ruined it before it even came out. It was revealed that the game had loot boxes and a ton of microtransactions that made the multiplayer completely unfair. EA had turned the game into pay to win. If you wanted your favorite characters like Darth Vader or Yoda, you either had to grind for dozens of hours or simply swipe your credit card. The backlash was so powerful that Disney actually had to step in and force EA to get rid of the microtransactions. EA originally made them cheaper, and just before release, they straight up deleted them from the game. The controversy was so big it caused dozens of countries to make loot boxes illegal. And even though that was a huge situation, it was nothing compared to EA's shadiest decision of all time. With UFC 4, the game originally looked great. It was received well by players, and review scores were pretty high. It was released as a fully fledged $60 game, and everything seemed to be going well, but secretly EA was waiting for the hype to die down before they pulled off one of the greediest decisions in gaming. After an entire month had passed, EA updated UFC 4 with ads. Despite the game still costing $60, EA really thought they could give people real ads in the middle of a match and nobody would notice. And so another company that's been called out recently is Rockstar. Last year they released the GTA Trilogy Definitive Edition, and it was a complete remake of classic games like Vice City and San Andreas. The trailers made it look phenomenal. They were developed on Unreal Engine, had insane graphics, and seemed like a love letter to the fans, but when it released, everything was exposed as a lie. The game was a buggy mess and had the exact same issues the originals had over 20 years ago. It showed how lazy the developers actually were, and exposed Rockstar for rushing it out to make money. But did you know that Blizzard charges $100,000 to max out a single character? Yes, in Diablo Immortal, you can spend real money to level up your characters. One player took this to the absolute extreme and spent thousands on his account. He got his barbarian to max level, but it cost 6 figures to do so, and this wasn't even the greediest part, because he could barely play the game anymore. With his character being so overpowered, the game wouldn't matchmake him with any other players, so he spent all that money for nothing. And so it gets even more ridiculous, because in 2018, Metal Gear made you pay for extra save slots. I'm not kidding, Konami released a spin-off called Metal Gear Survive, and it was a $40 survival game that was full of microtransactions. But the developers were so shady that they actually put extra saves behind a paywall. Yeah, if you want to start a new game or just make a character for a friend, it would cost $10. But the culling was 100 times worse. This was an OG battle royale that was pretty popular in 2016. But thanks to the success of games like PUBG and Fortnite, the developers of the culling decided to re-release it in 2020, except when it came back, the game cost $6. Not the most expensive until you realize that buying the game didn't actually mean you could play it. Instead, you were only allowed one match per day, and if you wanted to play more than that, you had to buy matches matches with real money. You can buy packs of 3, 10, or 20 matches, and it will cost up to $5 to top up your tokens depending on how many you wanted. The developers made it expensive on purpose so that you would look at their online pass and think it's a bargain in comparison. Either way, players are being ripped off. One of the most famous controversies out there is when Bethesda practically invented microtransactions. In 2006, with the success of Oblivion, they released a pack named the Horse Armor DLC. This was a time in gaming when DLC actually meant extra content, so for Bethesda to charge almost $3 for Horse Armor, it didn't go well. The biggest problem was that Oblivion is a completely single-player game, and the Horse Armor didn't actually do anything other than look good. It was a paid cosmetic that nobody would see except you, and became famous because of just how greedy this was. The scariest part is that it didn't matter. The Horse Armor DLC was one of the best-selling packs on the Xbox marketplace, and it started the microtransaction trend that we all know today. Let me tell you, this gets even dumber, because Mortal Kombat once charged players real money to press a button. The series is known for fatalities and finishing your opponent in gruesome ways. It's also pretty simple to do this because you just gotta press pause and the fatality combo is right there. But with Mortal Kombat X, the developers wanted to make money in the easiest way possible. So they made up one of the most ridiculous microtransactions in gaming history. You can pay $1 for easy fatalities, which will make the combos simpler. And I might have mentioned that it was $1, but you should probably know it only gave you 5 fatalities. That means if you wanted 30 easy fatalities, it costs $5. That is real money to do a combo that was already in game. I mean, shameless. But that's not as unsatisfying as the time that Dead Rising 4 put the actual ending behind a paywall. The game already had a fully fledged story, but never actually finished the narrative. The ending was just a cliffhanger, basically a slap in the face to anyone who cared about the story. That's when the developers announced an update after release that would continue the story and actually give players some closure, except it wasn't a free update or a spin-off game. It was a paid DLC pack that you had to complete in 90 minutes, and if you didn't do all the challenges correctly, you wouldn't even get the best ending. Now I'll admit, I don't think it would be considered as greedy as the time that Call of Duty charged players for a red dot site. There's not even an explanation for this one. They literally put a red dot site in Black Ops 4 and charged $1 for it. It was almost identical to the site that was already in game. You'd think that Activision would have learned, considering that Black Ops 3 was also called out for being shady. In that game, Treyarch got everyone excited with brand new weapons and items, except you could only get them in loot boxes, which were hard enough to earn through normal gameplay. So not only were they locked behind a paywall, but you couldn't even buy the weapon you wanted. You had to gamble for it, and the odds of you earning one was like 0.8%. I'm serious. Speaking of gambling, NBA 2K20 took things to a different level. Despite already charging you for cosmetics, upgrading players, and opening packs, 2K decided it wasn't enough. In a game that is literally rated E for everyone, NBA 2K20 had a virtual casino that you could gamble your currency on. This is like if Fortnite suddenly decided to put slot machines in the game and let you gamble your V-Bucks. That's how messed up this was. Now technically you could argue that loot boxes, packs, and other items have always been disguised as slot machines, but this was quite literally a casino. I mean, come on. And in 2018, EA released a DLC pack for The Sims 4 called My First Pet Stuff. It was a cute pack that let you get hamsters, rats, and a few other outfits. But despite the DLC's artwork and the description that says you could dress your cats and dogs, it didn't actually include cats or dogs. If you wanted to use most of the content in this DLC, you would have to buy more DLC. I'm just getting a headache at this point. But hey, it's just bonus content. You technically don't have to pay for it if you don't want to, but this Harry Potter game, on the other hand, locked you out of the game until you threw money at it. Hogwarts Mystery is a mobile game that has become known for how scummy and manipulative it is. It has an energy system that forces you to spend energy for each task. So, if you want to do a mission in the game, there's quick time events that take up your stamina. Once you run out, you've got to wait for it to replenish or pay money. And that is just the beginning, because what happened next is borderline evil. For one of the missions, you come across the Devil's Snare, and it attacks your character. So to escape, you must use up energy and fight it off. Except, the amount it cost to escape the Devil's Snare was actually more than the maximum energy you could even own. So even if you went into the fight with full stamina, you would still run out. Basically, players were given the choice. They could either possibly wait hours to get through the mission or pay money to get it over with, which is just super shady. And you ever heard about how Apple was exposed for downgrading old iPhones to make you buy a new one? Well, turns out not a new trick. EA was doing it in 2011 with Battlefield Play for Free. This is their attempt to make a freemium Battlefield game, but it turned out to be a disaster. For those who did play it, you could spend real money on better weapons, and that's to be expected, but things got heated deleted after EA decided to make the premium weapons useless. They were nerfed into the ground, forcing players to buy even newer guns to get their money's worth. It was just a gigantic scam. What's really funny is how we're returning to Bethesda, because remember how they practically invented microtransactions back in the day? That's why it's no surprise to learn that they tried to charge people to mod Skyrim on PC. Pretty common nowadays for modders to earn money through Patreon or charge people for their work. But the fact that Bethesda tried to make a profit from mods they didn't make, I mean, that's just a whole other level of greed. I will say they took it back super quickly because, I mean, nobody was gonna stand for it. And luckily, Steam Workshop remains free to this day. Now, one of the most successful mobile games of all time could be considered pretty greedy too. While Candy Crush isn't on the same level as Hogwarts Mystery or Fallout 76, it's still raked in over $1 billion in 2020 alone. So how'd they do this? Some have argued that the microtransactions in the game took advantage of the older generations, and honestly, it's not hard to believe. Ask a family member, they probably spent a ton on Candy Crush, and there have even been examples of people spending their entire life savings on the game. But that is not the greediest thing that the developers have done. You're not gonna believe this, but in 2014, King successfully trademarked the word candy in the EU. They used this to send out takedowns to other mobile developers who had the word candy in their titles. There was drama in the exact same year when a game called the Banner Saga battled with King over the rights to the word saga. Yes, they tried to argue that Stoic couldn't copyright a Viking game because the Banner Saga shared one word with the Candy Crush Saga. This is just absolutely embarrassing. Hope you guys enjoyed. It's been Tommy, and keep it here on T5G.
Watch Dogs is a well-known game where you're encouraged to hack, but one player was actually banned for trying to help report a serious issue. Someone known as Goron2000 was playing the game normally when he accidentally knocked out some NPCs. This is when he realized that Ubisoft had actually detailed the most inappropriate areas. Now, obviously, this seems super strange even for an 18-rated game, so he reported it on Twitter through PlayStation's sharing tool. And it wasn't long before he suddenly received a message from Sony saying that his account had been banned. But that's just the start, because this duo got banned for literally being too good. Battlefield 1 has an interesting anti-cheat system called Fair Fight. It's a super complex algorithm that calculates and monitors all of your stats while playing live. So when it starts picking up huge kill streaks or really good scores that seem impossible, it could ban players for hacking. However, one time, 2 pro players managed to get a ridiculous score per minute, and it actually banned KL and his teammate. Now, thankfully, he was able to contact DICE and get both of their accounts back, but this has got to be one of the coolest ways to get banned. But perhaps one of the strangest bans ever is making a mistake on a piece of paper. Back at a 2016 Pokemon tournament, contestants were required to fill out their player information sheet so that the commentators had all the details about participants. But Jonathan Evans accidentally put down the wrong item for a member on his team, mistaking it for another that had the same use. It seemed like a completely innocent mistake, but the tournament didn't take it lightly, and he was actually disqualified from the entire competition. And while we can be sure he won't make that mistake again, Deller smashed his keyboard over 100 times and got banned for it. He's a Fortnite streamer well known for raging, but one time he was playing Apex and it pushed him a bit too far. Now, you might not think that raging is a bannable offense, but he was actually suspended because of how he did it. Deller smashed the keyboards against his head, so Twitch immediately flagged it as harmful and dangerous activity on stream. He did eventually get unbanned a year later, but let's just hope he's not smashing too many keyboards anymore. But one of the dumbest bans of all time has to be when a player was disqualified from a tournament after teabagging his own teammate. Dilly was playing an Apex tournament and joked around with a friend who was eliminated during the match, only to find out that he was banned for bad sportsmanship.
Yo, okay, Dilly is, Crazy Penguins is disqualified. That kind of stuff will not be tolerated.
Friday the 13th is a game based on the popular horror movies where you're either on a team of campers or playing as Jason himself. But for some players, they decided to ruin matches by teaming up with the killer and exposing their teammates' locations. Now, you'd think that this would get you banned, but the story is so much weirder. One player encountered this problem and was super annoyed by the trolls, so he left a bad review on the game's Steam page. After it was posted, he soon found himself banned for sharing his thoughts. The dev stated that it was because he was harassing players in-game, but the community fully supported this guy, and Black Tower Studios received a ton of controversy as a result. But it's even worse getting banned because of your name. In 2016, PlayStation suspended a user for exactly that. Registered under a popular Middle Eastern name, he played peacefully for 6 years until he was reported and banned for an offensive username. But the biggest problem here is that this was actually his real name. Despite this, Sony insisted that it broke their TOS and that he would have to change his username to get his account back and access all his games. From a bad review to a username, you wouldn't think that it could get much worse, but somehow For Honor managed to pull off one of the most hilarious bans of all time, a player who didn't even own the game. During an accidental wave around launch, many players found themselves getting banned for doing nothing. One person who didn't even play received an email saying that they had been suspended for hacking. This guy literally only had an Ubisoft account and hadn't actually bought or ever played the game. But Pokemon Go has an even stranger ban. Jimmy DeRocher was a dedicated player who perfected the perfect strategy. By using certain locations, lures, and lucky eggs to boost his XP, he made himself a super efficient way to grind the game. He gained over 1 million XP in a single day, and although he was playing with in-game mechanics, the devs saw this as exploiting and his account was suspended. And some other players are taking different strategies to a whole nother level. In several LAN tournaments, players began to purposely smell bad to distract other competitors around them. It even started to put off the admins, meaning they wouldn't want to monitor their screens to see if they were cheating. Eventually, this got so bad that the tournament had to include it in their official rules. But sometimes, the players trying to help are the ones getting banned. Dark Souls 2 became pretty infamous for all of its bugs, and eventually players got tired of waiting for the devs to fix them. Eventually, the community decided to take it into their own hands and made a mod to fix tons of issues within the game. When the fixed mod was released, players immediately began downloading it to finally play the game bug-free. It worked so well, except the anti-cheat picked up on it, and everyone who used this would soon find themselves banned or sent to cheater lobbies. Of course, this made the game even worse to play than it was originally, all just for trying to fix the bugs that the devs wouldn't. And that's not even the dumbest ban from the Soul series, because in Elden Ring, players got banned for finding underwear in the files. Data miners discovered a pair of clothing called Deathbed Smalls that were cut from the game for being too risque. But the problem came when cheaters decided to hack in the underwear and wear them into online matches. These guys went around leaving them in online worlds for innocent players to pick up. And if this happened, the game would detect the hacked item and actually ban the innocent player for cheating. For Honor was another online game that dialed up the anti-cheat a little too high. Players found themselves being kicked or even fully banned just for using a controller. In case you didn't know, some controllers can be modded to customize buttons for a better layout or to give an advantage. But a majority of the people getting banned for this weren't even using it to cheat. And while it is good to have a good anti-cheat, sometimes it feels like it goes a bit too far. In its early days, Fortnite had no shortage of cheaters, from fly hacking to sniping the entire lobby from across the map. But something you'd never expect to get banned for is playing golf. When Laserbeam was trying out the newly added toys, he decided to try to hit a golf ball into a basketball hoop. And well, it didn't go exactly as planned.
You got struck by the ban hammer. They're like, no, you can't use the golf club.
Thankfully, Epic doesn't actually have strict rules for basketball, and he was simply kicked for using a VPN to improve his connection. But you gotta admit, the timing on that was too good. But perhaps one of the dumbest bans ever is when DeFran purposely broke the rules to troll his team during an actual tournament. This time, it wasn't even the fault of the game, but instead the player just choosing to mess around on stream and even announced that he was going to throw the game. Now, Blizzard did make a statement suspending him for breaking the rules and for being unsportsmanlike, but why would you ever do this in a tournament? But I'm not sure if anything tops Epic Games banning someone for trying to make an account. Back in 2016, they launched the beta test for their new game Paragon. Along with many others who signed up for the beta, one player tried to make an account and found himself blacklisted. He tried to create an account using his real name and got an error message saying that his name matched a special national list from the United States, which would be a super scary message to get when you didn't do anything wrong. He decided to contact support to resolve it, and he even tweeted his strange experience on Twitter. But the surprise came when Tim Sweeney, the CEO of Epic himself, replied to his tweet apologizing for the mistake. Thankfully, they fixed his account and the issue to avoid any future problems. But one of the most popular bans that has ever been given out is to a Fortnite hacker. Jarvis was a member of FaZe Clan and decided he wanted to download and install a hacking client. This gave him aimbot, wall hacks, and a bunch more. Now, he probably would have had a much higher chance of getting away with it if he didn't make a YouTube video for everyone to see.
I don't miss a shot. I don't miss a shot, bro. Yo, we're cracked.
He first did it on an alt account, which was suspended after a few games, but he started making more and more and found himself getting banned on multiple accounts. It wasn't long until Epic took notice of the suspicious activity and banned his IP and hardware permanently. This meant even his main account was gone, even though he never hacked on it. And since then, he's never been allowed to play again, losing his entire Fortnite career in just one video. But that's 15 of the dumbest ways that gamers got banned. It's been Sammy. Keep it here on T5G.
Very recently, I went on a hike to one of the many parks in my area. With me, I brought my cousin for some company and to have somebody to talk to. We're pretty close, always have been. I'm still not sure whether to really believe her or not, but this is what happened. We were hiking for about 2 hours, and we came across a pond. My cousin walked over to the edge by some trees and started talking quietly, so I couldn't understand what she was saying at first. I asked her, "What are you doing?" And I asked, walking up behind her. As soon as she turned around, she grabs my hand in hers, looks down at the ground in front of us, and pointed at me for me to look. All I saw were some animal tracks in the soft mud, but she insisted it was something else. She explained that the footprints were too big to be any normal animals. Whatever made these tracks had to have been at least 6 feet tall and abnormally large. I didn't believe her, of course, because she really gets into character when we watch scary movies or when she reads something before bed. I kind of rolled my eyes at her, laughing it off. We walked for another 15 minutes in silence before she finally broke it. "I'm not crazy, you know," she said seriously, with her eyes on the ground, like she was talking to herself more than me. Startled by what she had said, and forgetting the conversation we had 15 minutes previously, I turned around to face her in response. "Well, then prove it. What did you see?" I asked her. She looked up at me, and her eyes were welted, tears in her eyes. She just whispered, "I'm not lying." Then began to run faster than I could keep up with through the dense trees of the forest. A branch must have caught on her foot or something. She stopped running. She fell on the ground, and it looked like there were blood all over her shoes from where they got ripped off in the fall. I dropped my backpack next to hers, thinking she'd got hurt, helping my cousin get back on her feet. We sat down for a few moments to catch our breath before heading back home towards the park entrance closest to us. We weren't exactly sure what the blood was or where it came from. We just assumed that perhaps it was animal blood, so we wiped it off and went on our way. We sat down there for a few moments to catch our breath before heading back home towards the park entrance closest to us. When we finally made it,
This week's Honest Trailer is brought to you by D&D Beyond. Register for free at dndbeyond.com to start your adventure. Happy holidays from Screen Junkies. We're working on a ton of big Honest Trailers and some fun new stuff for the year ahead. But until then, here's a bunch of our old stuff strung together for minimum effort and maximum views. From the company that went bankrupt in the 90s and sold off the rights to its most popular characters, comes a film based on the equivalent of leftover scrap metal, proving that Marvel can build a franchise around just about anybody, except the Hulk, Iron Man. Experience the massive success that Marvel turned into a formula for printing money, where you take a half-forgotten B-list superhero, cast an unknown or half-forgotten B-list actor, have him fight a generic villain that will only last one movie, fall in love with a generically strong female character, make a ton of quips, talk a bunch of science, destroy some public property, cram Stan Lee in there somewhere, have a blue beam shoot up in the sky, set up an Avengers movie, and force the audience to sit through 500 visual effects guys' names just to catch a few extra seconds.
I'm here to talk to you about the Avenger Initiative.
Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Mr. Stark, you become part of a bigger universe.
You grew up loving Batman, Spider-Man, and Superman. Now, get ready for a hero that makes them look like huge nerds by comparison. And meet Tony Stark, a hard-partying, Robert Downey Jr.-ish weapons designer, who's the perfect match between actor and role that allowed him to spend the next 7 years making a fortune by pretending to look at a screen, pretending to play with some holograms, doing a little voiceover,
Keep going!
and basically act like himself until someone says cut. Nice work if you can get it. Cheer for a hero whose power is his intelligence, not some magical hammer, as Tony craps out new technology the way you and I crap out breakfast, like this weapon that's used against him, these weapons that are used against him,
I think you got a lot of my weapons.
this weapon that's used against him,
You remember this one, right?
this weapon that's used against him,
Tony Stark was able to build this in a cave!
this miracle technology that becomes a weapon that's used against him. And of course, Ultron. Seriously, Tony, just do the world a solid and stop working.
Trying to rid the world of weapons? You gave it its best one ever!
So revisit the Marvel masterpiece that started it all, without which there would be no Marvel Cinematic Universe. No Avengers, no Guardians, no Winter Soldier, leaving Hollywood in the terrifying position of having to develop something original. Ugh. Starring Bruce Wayne, Miss Moneypepper, Obadiah Vane. Terrence, how hard could it have been to take a pay cut for the sequels? Obligatory Stanio, and the Iron Giant, Marvel Man.
Where is it?
Wow, that's gotta be the only time someone has ever looked cool riding a Segway. From Marvel Studios and Universal comes the second movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that we're doing an honest trailer for because Infinity War is coming out. We've already done all the other MCU movies, and Black Panther isn't on Blu-ray yet. The Incredible Hulk. Meet Bruce Banner. No, not the one people like. Who's that? He never
What's
played
up?
the Hulk.
How
did
are
he?
you?
No, you know the one I'm talking about. The Death to Smoochie guy. There he is. Ed Norton shines as the first Marvel actor to show off how many crunches he did for the part. Abs. And he's bringing his incredible range to a role that has him act like he's on Xanax.
I know a few techniques could help you manage that anger very effectively.
While off camera, he's bringing his incredible ego to a full rewrite of the script under the fake name Edward Harrison. Do you want to get Terrence Howarded? Because that's how you get Terrence Howarded. Join Bruce for a story where he runs away from the military, runs away from the military, and runs away from the military again. But sometimes when his little Fitbit thingy hits 200, he'll turn into the Hulk, an unstoppable rage monster that's actually a huge danger to the entire planet, the economy of Brazil, and all of Harlem.
What's up, Snizzle? Thanks for coming into my live. I appreciate it.
Yeesh, I'm glad he
I'm
flew
just
up to
doing
not Planet
some
Hulk.
work.
There wouldn't be an Earth left for Thanos to punch.
Hulk smash!
Before Gwyneth Paltrow took a 4-year hiatus, and before Natalie Portman took an indefinite absence,
I dumped her. It's a mutual dumping.
Liv Tyler dropped off the face of the MCU without so much as an Easter egg. Stand and smile as the actress spends most of the movie standing and smiling as she doesn't get anything or even anyone to do.
I can't get too excited. Not even a little excited.
You've always wanted to see the Hulk match up against a villain that could equal his powers. Well, too bad, because he's fighting the skinny British guy from Reservoir Dogs. He's a decorated veteran with zero personal connection to Bruce Banner and zero threat to the Hulk. But when he shoots himself full of tainted Captain America juice, he'll turn into one of the most forgettable monsters in the MCU.
The mixture could be an abomination.
That was so bad, he got his ass kicked all the way into Batman v Superman. Ugh. Go back to the days before Marvel had this whole universe thing on autopilot, where our nerd boners would only get little tastes of fan service. A sequel was only lightly implied instead of blatantly setting up 5 more movies. It put its post-credit scene before the credits.
What if I told you we were putting a team together?
And didn't make $1 billion. Oh, that's like Green Lantern money. Ugh.
No, I know what it's like to not live up to expectations.
So strap in for this odd sequel, requel, reboot, origin movie that's better than we give it credit for. Because whatever you think about the film itself, it gave us Mark Ruffalo
Puny God.
and paved the way for Ed Norton to join Wes Anderson's Fancy Boy Cinematic Universe. Oh man, I cannot wait for the Royal Tenenbaums to fight Steve Zissou in Budapest Hotel Infinity Floor. Okay, Green Goblin, nobody punches out Flash Thompson in this quirky hotel and gets away with it. Starring I Am Jack's departure due to creative differences, Iggy Pop, Like a Ross. Y'all got an Iron Man suit that needs voicing? And Teenage Mutant Ninja Heroin Addict. The Disposable Hulk.
¿Dónde estoy?
En Guatemala.
Yeah, it's probably not the first time a white guy got so hammered in Brazil he woke up half naked in Guatemala. Spring Break 97, woo! From the poor man's Joss Whedon comes the forgettable follow-up to Iron Man. That's essentially just killing time until the Avengers. Iron Man 2. The completely disappointing sequel you fooled yourself into liking simply because it had Iron Man in it. Suit up for a feature-length version of the Nick Fury bonus scene from the end of the first Iron Man, which will still be unresolved by the end of this movie.
Tony Stark not recommended?
We've witnessed Tony Stark battle global terrorism and his inner demons. Now, prepare to see him take on his biggest challenges yet. Tedious government committees.
Can you please read page 57, paragraph 4?
You're requesting that I read specific selections from my report center?
Yes, sir.
Corporate maneuvering.
It was an illegal seizure of trademark property.
Low batteries.
Another core has been depleted.
Alcoholism. And some guy with a bird.
I want my bird.
Is this a bird back in Russia?
A sequel so inferior, it will replace an awesome origin story with countless subplots you won't remember as soon as you walk out of the theater. A story that ditches technology grounded in reality for laughably unrealistic magic holograms.
Lucid landscaping, the shrubbery, the trees, parking lots, exits, entrances.
And substitutes Jeff Bridges with Gary Shandling?
Do you or do you not possess a specialized weapon?
Witness a superhero movie with just enough Iron Man action to fill a 3-minute trailer, but not a feature-length film. Trust us, we counted. Instead, sit back and prepare to watch Iron Man, attend corporate events, eat donuts, DJ birthday parties, and pee his pants. Experience the epic face-off between Iron Man and one of Marvel's least known villains, Whiplash, who's harnessed the most dangerous modern technology ever, only to waste it on a whip. A foe with no known superpowers, who somehow survives being crushed by a car. Not once, not twice, but 4 times. To defeat this madman, Iron Man's bringing in backup, and they are all just as boring as the rest of the movie. Pepper Potts, an inconsistent nag who's totally cool with her boyfriend being Iron Man, but freaks out when he drives a car.
You know about this. This cannot happen.
Black Widow, a sexy spy shoehorned into the movie just to establish her boobs for the Avengers. And Lieutenant Colonel James Rhodes. Nope, no, not that one. Yeah, that's the one. Who has the skills to perfectly fit in and pilot an Iron Man suit without any previous experience. Wait, didn't Tony need like half a movie to figure out how to work that thing? A new chapter so thin, the key to the entire plot is resolved by a 40-year-old Easter egg from Tony's dad.
Tony, I built this for you. One day you'll figure this out.
Who decades earlier somehow knew his grown son would keep his old diorama, put it in an impossible-to-predict holographic computer display that can magnify impossible amounts of detail and reveal the chemical makeup of an impossible-to-create element.
Unfortunately, it is impossible to synthesize.
Which Tony immediately synthesizes in order to wrap up all loose ends.
Congratulations, son. You have created a new element.
Someone got paid to write this? Starring Rob Stark, Mrs. Coldplay, better Terrence Howard, some guy in a Mickey Rourke mask. Oh, that guy from, he was in that one movie. A guy in a Gary Shandling mask, Vince Vaughn's BFF, Don Draper, Sam Elliott? No, man, it's bugging me. And Hawkeye with boobs. Iron Man 2. Sam Rockwell, it's Sam Rockwell. That's the guy. I loved him in Galaxy Quest. Prepare for a film that only exists so non-nerds will recognize the blonde guy in The Avengers, Thor. You've seen great superhero films. You've seen terrible superhero films. Now, prepare for a superhero film that's just kinda, I mean, I guess they did the best they could adapting a comic book about a bratty space god.
You are an old man and a fool!
Journey to Asgard, the land of Viking myth, where everyone gets a pointy hat. The gods live inside a CGI pipe organ, and the only way in or out is through the Rainbow Road level from Mario Kart. Meet Thor, the least relatable Marvel hero since Doctor Strange. He's an idiot demigod prince with a magical hammer that really needs to buy a vowel.
Mjolnir.
Mjolnir.
Mjolnir? What's Mjolnir?
But Thor isn't the only god in town. Meet Loki, Thor's evil stepbrother, who will stop at nothing to betray his adopted father with the help of his real father.
I will conceal you, and you can slay him where he lies.
In order to betray his real father,
Your death came by the son of Odin.
to impress his adopted father?
I could have done it, Father, for you!
That makes even less sense than his plan from the Avengers.
Not a great plan.
Meet Odin, Thor and Loki's dad, who pretty much guarantees that one of his kids will grow up to resent the other.
Only one of you can ascend to the throne, but both of you were born to be kings.
Oh, and all these rejects from Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, and Xena Warrior Princess. Struggle with the former god of thunder as he's stripped of his powers and banished to these 2 square blocks in the New Mexico desert. There, he'll acclimate to our strange earth customs, like ordering in restaurants,
Another!
healthcare,
You're no match for the mighty!
traffic safety, and horse purchasing.
I need a horse!
We don't have horses, just dogs.
And give me one of those large enough to ride.
Watch as Thor turns to Jane Foster for help, a brilliant astrophysicist with supermodel good looks that just happens to be single, and who immediately falls in love with Thor for no good reason. Make that 6 reasons. Abs. So ride along with Thor as he loses, then regains his magic powers, hooks up with Jane, saves 2 different realms from destruction, and learns the virtues of patience and humility, all over the course of a long weekend. Seriously, this whole movie takes place over 2.5 days. Starring Thunder from Down Under, Pokemon, The Godfather, Idris Elba, Lord Zed from Power Rangers, One Broke Girl, and Portmandia. Thor's obligatory movie. So Loki dies at the end and comes back to life by the end of the credits? That's gotta be some kind of record. From the studio dumb enough to sell their Marvel franchise rights to Disney comes yet another movie that only exists to set up the Avengers. Captain America, the first Avenger. Stand tall for a superhero movie with an important message. It's what's on the inside that counts, except for when it comes to fighting, or being respected,
Look at that. He's making me cry.
or getting laid.
Women aren't exactly lining enough to dance with the guy they might step on.
Meet Johnny Storm, the Human Torch. Wait, no, that's wrong movie. Meet Steve Rogers, a grown man's head CGI'd onto a little boy's body. He's a skinny kid from Brooklyn who dresses like it's the 1940s, so basically a modern-day kid from Brooklyn. Watch as he becomes a superhero in the most American way possible. Steroids.
How'd you feel?
Taller.
Abs. He'll juice up to become Captain America, a soldier with the powers of being a little bit stronger than a regular strong guy, ultimate frisbee, and, super sobriety?
I can't get drunk.
Forget Tony Stark's ridiculous 3D holograms and return to an analog world full of lever pulling, switch flipping, button pressing, dial turning, and people calling out percentages with absolutely no context.
That's 10%. 70%. That's 50%.
20%.
That's 40%.
60.
30, 60, 80,
40.
90. That's 100%.
ride along with Captain America as he faces off against the evil Red Skull, who along with everyone else in sci-fi and fantasy is played by Hugo Weaving. Cheer as the Captain defeats his legendary arch-nemesis in a brisk 2-minute montage. All to leave more time for foreshadowing The Avengers, introducing the plot device from The Avengers, unnecessarily freezing himself so he can be in The Avengers, and an after-credit scene that is literally a trailer for The Avengers. Starring the 90-year-old virgin, Tommy Lee Groans, One-Face, Two-Face, Red-Face, U-Face, German Capote, Dr. Strangelove, The Winter Spoiler, Agent Love Interest, and Robert Downey Sr., Captain America, The First Avengers trailer. Raiders of the Lost Ark did it better. Just saying.
From Joss Whedon, god of the nerds, comes the movie blockbuster that finally unites the world's greatest superheroes that Marvel still has the rights to. The Avengers, the ultimate 2-hour geek fantasy that blinds all nerds from admitting any legitimate criticism and put all of DC Comics on suicide watch. A villain who inexplicably returns from the dead will vow vengeance on the planet where his demigod brother's sort of girlfriend lives, forcing this Bluetooth-obsessed government agency to assemble the heroes from Marvel's greatest franchises, except Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, and X-Men, suit up with Iron Man, everyone's favorite secondary Marvel character who must redeem himself from the god-awful Iron Man 2. Thor, who sort of pulled off his own movie, but whose appearance here completely negates its ending. Captain America, no one's favorite character, who just kinda has to be there. And the Incredible Hulk, who for the sake of the plot can now suddenly control his rage. I'm always angry. Without any explanation. Which doesn't matter, cause that shot was awesome. Witness the excitement.
I need you to get to that engine control panel.
Of Iron Man repairing a spaceship for 20 minutes. The thrill of generic aliens on flying jet skis. The confusing energy source of the Tesseract.
The Tesseract can't fight. You can't protect against yourself.
And its completely unjustified failsafe. The explosion that instantly kills every alien, conveniently tying up all loose ends. The bromance. And the character in the middle of the credits who every nerd in the audience pretended to know. A movie so fulfilling you won't remember that the first 45 minutes are actually kind of boring. A villain so determined.
You need the cube to bring me home, but I've sent it off I know not where.
You'll wonder why he's uniting the only people who can stop him in hopes of getting them to dislike each other.
Not a great plan.
Battles so action-packed.
Stark, got a lot of spray stuff in your tail.
You won't even ask yourself, how are they even all talking to each other without earpieces?
I can close it. Can anybody copy?
Do it! No, wait. Stark, these things are still coming.
Starring Boar, Pink Eye, Iron Man pooping, not Edward Norton, the Human Torch, Leather, Boobs, Mace Windu, and Gay Bane. Marvel's The Avengers. If this doesn't make your inner 8-year-old self squeal in delight, you're likely dead inside, or a girl.
When a terrorist mastermind kidnaps the president and brings a country to its knees, there's only one Marvel franchise that Disney can afford to call. I wish. Actually, just this guy. No, really. Just the guy. Not even the suit. Tony Stark is regular man in Iron Man 3. Prepare for an Iron Man movie with hardly any Iron Man in it. And no AC/DC either. Suit up with billionaire Tony Stark as he doesn't suit up in a summer blockbuster that for no reason at all takes place on Christmas, and see him like you've never wanted to see him before. Insecure.
I'm a piping hot mess.
anxious,
Check the heart, check the, is it the brain?
and paralyzed with fear.
God, what do we do?
With regular man sidelined by the whispers of children.
How did you get out of the wormhole?
It's up to his latest creation to save the day, Remote Control Man.
This is a new level of lame.
You've seen the Iron Man armor hold its own against Thor, the God of Thunder. Now, after dozens of upgrades, it runs out of batteries.
I need to sleep now, sir.
Constantly malfunctions, falls apart again, falls apart again, falls apart again.
Whatever.
And takes its sweet time to assemble.
That. 5, 4, 3. Come on! 2, 5.
Seriously, the Avengers assembled faster than this. But Remote Control Man's not alone. Tony spent his downtime building all kinds of robots that break faster than bad cosplay. Like Forearms Man, Choking Hazard Man, and Crane Steadying Juggernaut Man. Tony and his crappy suits must pull together to face his greatest foe since alcoholism. The Mandarin.
You'll never see me coming.
In a timely update of the character, Osama bin Kingsley plays the brilliant terrorist who manipulates the entire country into doing his bidding.
My name's Trevor Slattery.
Wait, what?
I'm an actor. The Mandarin. See, it's not real.
No, you can't do that.
Tony.
They were doing such a good job, then they turned him into a punchline? This is Iron Man's arch-nemesis. This isn't just ignoring the comics. This is dropping their pants and wiping their butt with them. What bad guy did they even replace him with?
I am the Mandarin!
Oh, come on! Instead, we get Aldrich Killian, an ex-nerd out for revenge after Tony skipped a meeting one time, and his nameless henchman with a confusing grab bag of fire powers, like glowing, getting hot, exploding, super strength, regrowing limbs, flame-proof clothes, and shooting fire out of their mouths? They really just made it up as they went along, huh? Witness the least thought-out sequence of the Iron Man trilogy, as Tony Stark gives his personal address to a terrorist.
10880 Malibu Point.
Then goes home and puts on his only unfinished Iron Man suit. Lets someone walk through his front door. Doesn't see the missile heading for his house until it's on the news. Still doesn't activate any kind of home security system, or any of the 40 other remote-controlled Iron Man suits in his basement, or have Jarvis call the police, or S.H.I.E.L.D., or an Avenger. So you're telling me Nick Fury shows up for coffee and donuts, but not when Tony Stark might be dead? So watch as the Iron Man trilogy ends with 10 of the franchise's most disappointing minutes, where Killian loses to Gwyneth Paltrow in yoga pants. All the Iron Man suits get blown up for no reason, and Tony has the operation that will make him regular man forever, at least until Avengers 2. Starring R2-DJ, Gooper Hero, Gandhi, Nerdy Memento, Murtaugh, Vincent Vega, and the worst extra ever.
When is somebody gonna kill this guy? Just saying.
And not starring the Hulk, Thor, Captain America, Nick Fury, Black Widow, Hawkeye, Agent Coulson, Agent Maria Hill, Sylvan, or even the Galaga guy. Iron Man 3.
So you heard none of it?
I'm not that kind of doctor.
Dude, where were you the whole movie? You've seen Thor, the film that tided fans over until the Avengers. Now experience the film that will tide fans over until the Avengers 2. Thor: The Dark World. Thor is back in another perfectly adequate Marvel movie that pleasantly killed a few hours of your time, with enough cool visuals, action, and humor to keep you from wondering, why does the Elfman want to shoot magic Kool-Aid into the sky holes? Return for another post-Avengers movie, full of references to the Avengers,
You were in New York. That was for New York.
but no actual Avengers. Instead of Earth's mightiest heroes, watch Thor team up once again with Heimdall, the watchful guardian who can see everything, except for the spy, and Thor's girlfriend.
I can't see her.
And this gigantic spaceship directly above him. The Warriors 3, who are so replaceable they switched out one of the actors and you totally didn't notice. And everyone's favorite, Loki, the charismatic trickster who no one should trust by now.
You still don't trust me, brother, would you?
No, idiot. When he's not battling yet another forgettable bad guy, watch as the mighty Thor mopes around Asgard in a Snuggie because he's still hung up on a girl he spent one long weekend with and hasn't called in 2 years.
Where were you?
Natalie Portman returns as Jean Grey from the X-Men Phoenix Saga. With the help of her wacky sidekick, her other wacky sidekick, and her other wacky sidekick's wacky sidekick, they'll discover the Convergence, a piece of science mumbo-jumbo everyone keeps trying to explain.
Once a cycle, all the worlds align.
The alignment is only temporary. He must be in exactly the right place at the right time.
Physics is gonna go ballistic. Increases and decreases in gravity, spatial extrusions.
Whatever. Can we just see Thor hit something with a hammer again? Thank you. Travel across the 9 realms, ranging from Earth to Vanaheim to Svartalf to Asgard, home of the most impenetrable city ever. So ride along with the God of Thunder.
We are not gods.
So ride along with the Guy of Thunder for another celebration of the male form in all its beauty. Featuring ass, tush, and pixelated balls. Starring Gale's brother, Natalie Portwoman, for Loki, Goldeneye, The Nutty Professor, and Oscar, Ken Jennings, Stanley, and Mugatu. Thor: The Dark World.
Now you're thinking with portals.
You weren't that impressed with his first movie. He wasn't your favorite Avenger. Now, get ready for the sequel that made everyone say, "Holy sh**, who knew Captain America kicked so much ass?" Captain America, the Winter Soldier. The captain is back, and he didn't skip leg day. Thrill as he ditches his lame Avenger suit for a cool new one, and shows off the full range of his vaguely defined superpowers, like super gymnastics, super throwing, super catching, and super jumping out of stuff.
Is he wearing a parachute?
When he's not kicking ass or taking names, follow Cap as he spends his free time freaking out kids at museums, hanging with his gilf, and catching up on the last 60 years of pop culture.
I'll put it on the list.
Man, Star Wars must have blown his mind. When Hydra returns, Cap needs to take him out by forming a team he can trust, including Black Widow, a sneaky double agent who he really shouldn't trust, and Falcon, a random guy he met on the street.
Sam Wilson.
Steve Rogers.
Watch as Cap and 2 non-superheroes end up actually kicking a lot of ass together in a really entertaining, well-directed movie. What? We have to be honest. It's good. But since Honest Trailers is a comedy series, get ready for nitpicking. Prepare for the shocking revelation that Hydra has been secretly growing inside of S.H.I.E.L.D. all along, despite the fact that the previous Marvel movies really didn't do anything to set that up. And get ready to try to ignore questions like, when did Nick Fury stop wearing the bulletproof vest that saved his life in the Avengers? Why didn't Tony Stark find out about Hydra when he decrypted all of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s files?
In a few hours, I'll know every dirty secret S.H.I.E.L.D. has ever tried to hide.
How did an agency that employs thousands of people hide the fact that half of its agents were members of a secret Nazi death cult for over 60 years? If S.H.I.E.L.D. had their hands on the Tesseract for so long, why didn't Hydra just use that to take over the world? That was the Red Skull's plan in the first place, right? And he was the OG Hydra. And if Nick Fury was such a threat, why didn't Hydra try to kill him before he saved Tony Stark's life, thought out their greatest enemy, and assembled a team of superheroes that would almost certainly stop any evil plans they had for the future? See, we told you it'd be nitpicking. So sit back and enjoy the best standalone Marvel movie since Iron Man. Full of awesome action, awesome cameos, and one awesome twist they run into the ground, where Bucky turns out to still be alive, and Dr. Zola turns out to still be alive, and Nick Fury turns out to still be alive, and Crossbone turns out to... Okay, no one ever really dies in this movie. Still great though. Starring American Austin Powers, Mad-Eye Moody, Unfrozen Caveman Soldier, Lucy, Falcon Punch, Robert Red Toyota, and Hail Hard Drive, Captain America. He's cool now. So, Cap bets the safety of the free world on two people not wanting to buy gum?
Not a great plan.
Okay, we got it. Keep your star pants on. Without the rights to some of its most popular titles and its biggest stars' contracts about to expire, watch Marvel Studios scrape the bottom of the barrel for their obscure 70s comic book that barely anyone read, proving once and for all we'll see anything if you slap Marvel's name in front of it. Guardians of the Galaxy. Suit up for Marvel's attempt at Star Wars in a science fantasy adventure about heroes you've never heard of.
Star-Lord.
Who? Protecting a planet none of them live on from an underdeveloped alien villain whose problems you couldn't care less about. We're really reaching here. This was a fun movie. Journey across the galaxy to meet this gang of lovable misfits. There's Captain Star-Lord from America, the human leader from a different time and place, like Captain America. Gamora, the Black Widowish leather-clad female assassin, like Black Widow. Drax, the guy with the killer abs who doesn't understand our customs in a Thor kind of way. Groot, a big hulking tree. Get it? And Rocket, the wisecracking tech genius with a drinking problem, like Tony Stark. What I'm trying to say is, they're the Space Avengers, but I guess it's technically not stealing if they're ripping off themselves. Watch the Guardians race to find an excuse for more Avengers sequels by chasing after the Infinity Stone, an orb of world-conquering power that no one bothers to guard, and a gem so powerful it can kill you just by touching it, unless you're this guy. Or you can join hands to disperse its power, unless you're these guys. Or you can just jam it into a hammer and use it safely from there. It's best not to think about it too hard. You thought the Avengers was nerdy? You ain't seen nothing yet. Between all the action and comedy, get ready for a whole lot of space mumbo-jumbo.
I will unfurl 1,000 years of Kree justice on Xandar.
What's important now is we get the Ravagers' army to help us save Xandar.
So we can give the stone to Yondu?
And the remnants of these systems were forged into concentrated ingots.
Then, if you can figure any of that out, try to figure out why this blue alien isn't working with this blue alien, who's working for this blue alien, to kill this green alien, who both want to kill this purple alien, as does this Christmas-colored alien. But if you get confused, just remember the hero is still the white guy. So experience the swagger of a movie studio drunk on its own power as Marvel trolls the world with balls-out middle fingers to the audience they know they have in the palm of their hands. Oh, you like superheroes? Well, how about a movie that stars a fucking raccoon and a fucking tree? You like Vin Diesel? Yeah, well, we cast him and he only says one fucking line.
I am Groot.
You want more pedigreed actors? We'll put them in stupid outfits and make them say space bullshit.
All Nova pilots, interlock and form a blockade.
Because who doesn't want to be in a fucking Marvel movie? Hey, recognize that chubby idiot from Parks and Rec? We're gonna turn him into a sex symbol. That would be hilarious. Remember the worst movie we ever made, Howard the Duck? Stick that after the credits when everyone's expecting Avengers 2. It'll totally with our fans and they'll love it anyways. Speaking of which, remember Thanos from that one scene at the end of the Avengers a few years ago? Well, we're bringing him back, and he's still not doing shit. Why? Because f*** you. We're Marvel, that's why. What are you gonna do? Watch DC? Thought so. Starring Marvel Chris number 3, Green Natiri, Drax on, Drax off, Chewbacca, The Coon, Blue Man Group, Dr. Steve Rule, and Darkseid. Marvel's Space Avengers. Okay, I get where Star-Lord's Walkman came from, but where do you get a tape deck for a spaceship? Galaxy Shack? After the mind-blowing success of The Avengers, the game-changing thrills of The Winter Soldier, and the unexpected surprise of Guardians of the Galaxy, you thought there was no way the next Avengers could live up to the hype. You were right. Avengers: Age of Ultron. I mean, it's definitely good, just not great, you know what I mean? Like, certainly enjoyable, but, you know, oh man, we're gonna catch hell for this, aren't we? When the Mandarin seemingly killed Iron Man and took the president hostage, the Avengers didn't assemble. When Malekith almost destroyed the universe, the Avengers didn't assemble. And when a terrorist organization infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D. and came just seconds away from killing millions, the Avengers still didn't assemble. But when a remote Hydra base might be hiding something, every single Avenger is assembling all up in his business for even more group shots. Hey, does that mean we can finally stop using this one? Joss Whedon is back at the helm and more beat down than ever.
In the second one, the job just got harder. Oh, I have all these restrictions, but I also have all these guidelines.
As he does his best to meet our unrealistic nerd expectations and tries to make a standalone sequel as good as Empire Strikes Back or Godfather 2 that also sets up Civil War.
Every time someone tries to win a war before it starts, innocent people die.
And sets up Infinity War.
The Mind Stone is the fourth of the Infinity Stones to show up in the last few years.
And sets up Thor Ragnarok.
We are all dead. Can you not see it?
And sets up Black Panther.
Wakanda, Wakanda.
And fits in Disney corporate cross promotions.
Strings, so I have fun.
In a juggling act so insanely difficult, he turned down the sequel, quit Twitter, and doesn't have any new films in development. Guys, I think we just broke Joss Whedon. He needs a hug. Experience the movie equivalent of emptying out your entire toy box and smashing all your action figures into each other as the Avengers roster bloats even further with Vision, Scarlet Witch, and Quicksilver, who for some reason are never called Vision, Scarlet Witch, or Quicksilver. One is a lame Russian knockoff of the X-Men that Fox did way better. One has hand-wavy mind control powers and can also stop trains. And the other is a beam-shooting 3D printed vibranium robot, plus Jarvis, plus the Mind Stone, who can fly and makes capes? What? Can one of you guys explain Vision to me? I have no idea who or what he is. You've seen great Marvel movie villains like Loki and... No, definitely not. Not even close. Huh, guess it's still just Loki. Now, get ready for another generically evil one-off villain who hates the Avengers for reasons, with an overcomplicated plot to evolve and or destroy the world by turning an Eastern European city into a meteor?
Not a great plan.
You've been waiting for years to see your heroes come together again. Now watch them fight for limited screen time, full of rushed side plots like Black Widow's Black Swan School, Thor's Magic Jacuzzi.
If the water spirits accept me, I can return to my dream.
Captain America's old party thing. And the most out-of-left-field love story since Spock and Uhura. But don't worry, there's still plenty of time left over for your least favorite Avenger to become your third or fourth least favorite Avenger. Aw, Hawkeye, good for you. We like you now. Get ready for everything you loved about the first Avengers movie, all over again. Mind control, again. Looking for Loki's scepter, again. A Thanos tease, again. A final showdown against a faceless army with a ticking clock, again. And tons of grips.
Well, I'm decrypting nuclear codes and you don't want me to.
Guy's multiplying faster than a Catholic rabbit.
We won't hold it against you if you can't get it up. And he did a Banksy at the crime scene.
With the benefit of hindsight.
Stop quipping.
It's good talk.
No, it wasn't.
I didn't say you could leave.
You're all not worthy.
Language.
You son of a bitch.
You kiss your mother with that mouth?
You and Banner better not be playing hide the zucchini.
Clearly, you've never made an omelet.
He beat me by 1 second.
Oh man, these things are gonna be insufferable when Ant-Man and Star-Lord show up. Starring Mr. Rogers, Hank Pym, Beats by Bruce. Good luck finding her action figure, Archer, Farm and Furious. So that's what Andy Serkis looks like. Resting Witch Face, The Quick and the Dead. CGI balls, Super Siri, Skynet, and the new Avengers. Yay? Avengers, roughly 1 week of Ultron. I'm calling it. The SHIELD helicarrier will become the MCU's Eagles.
The Eagles are coming!
From Edgar Wright, until he refused to get in line, comes a movie based on a superhero so ridiculous, you'll swear Marvel's choosing their projects on a dare. Ant-Man. You've seen Marvel movies based on green giants, Norse gods, and these weirdos. Now get ready for a hero so silly, no one can even keep a straight face when they say his dumb name.
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man.
Is it too late to change the name?
In this super-powered heist film that, against all odds, actually kind of works. I mean, it's still more believable than letting someone join the Avengers just because they're good with a bow and arrow, right? Meet Scott Lang.
Say yes, Scott.
Wait, nope, not that one. Yeah, that's the guy. A master thief who gets busted every time he tries to get away with anything.
Hey, little guy.
His life will change when he meets Hank Pym, the billionaire industrialist who lost control of his company to a bald former ally who betrays him and plots to use his advanced suit technology for evil. And if that sounds familiar, it's because it's the exact same premise as the first Iron Man movie.
If it ain't broke.
I mean, seriously, it even has that friend staring at the suit they'll wear in the sequel moment.
Next time, baby.
It's about damn time.
Thrill at amazing visual effects that make 70-year-old Michael Douglas look like 60-year-old Michael Douglas, and has harmless locations pulse with epic danger, like a briefcase, a toy train set, and Michael Peña's junk. In some of the most high-stakes fights between tiny people since Frodo versus Gollum, proving Marvel still hasn't run out of ways for guys to punch each other in the face. Or in this movie's case, sucker punch.
And now it's gonna blow up in your face. Oh, you okay? Did I hurt you? Show me.
That's how you punch.
Prepare for a movie that would be really stale without Paul Rudd doing Paul Rudd things. Because most of it is Hank Pym yammering on about some boring science crap.
I use electromagnetic waves to stimulate their olfactory nerve center. You must retrieve this prototype of a signal decoy. I created a formula that altered atomic relative distance.
Huh?
She turned off her regulator and went subatomic.
But separates itself from the other 11 MCU movies with a few unique twists, like making another schlubby comedian get abs for a superhero role, actually getting you to care about disgusting insect monsters. Anthony! No, not Anthony! Oh man, I like that one because he had a name. And saying the one thing everyone's been yelling at the screen since Phase 2 started.
I think our first move should be calling the Avengers.
So strap in for the best micro movie since Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, as Marvel proves once again they can literally sell you anything, and they don't even have to try that hard to sell it.
Ants. Ants. Ant-Man.
Huh? Starring I Love You, Matt, Tony Stark Sr., Wasp Machine, the only Latino in the MCU, T.I. as himself, and the biggest Avenger they could get, Thomas and the Magic Railroad, and disposable Marvel villain number 9, Tiny Iron Man. Man, after this one, I cannot imagine these movies getting any strange. Oh yeah, forgot about that. You've seen them fight as hero versus hero. You've seen them fight as friend versus friend. Now, the greatest threat to the Avengers is... It's gonna be themselves again, isn't it? Yep, that's what happens when your villains kinda suck. Captain America: Civil War. Loosely based on the comic book crossover event comes the epic struggle that has your favorite heroes asking, is it better to be dickishly stubborn?
If I see a situation pointed south, I can't ignore it.
or stubbornly dickish.
Sometimes I want to punch you in your perfect teeth.
In a film that settles a moral and political debate, the only way superheroes know how, by beating the crap out of each other. Take that, regulatory oversight! The government wants to rein in the Avengers for when they recklessly save the entire world from aliens. That other time when they saved the entire world from a secret Nazi death cult. And again, saved the entire world from the army of murder robots they created. Okay, that one is on them.
Ultron. My fault.
Now, Captain America must get in line or face the prospect of an all-out civil war. Or at least one group sparring session.
You're pulling your punches.
One real fight. And a nice letter reminding us that everything is still hunky-dory.
Tony, if you need me, I'll be there.
What? You thought there'd be lasting stakes? Come on, this is Marvel we're talking about. Cap is back, and he's still a total beefcake, leading a team of rebels alongside his quippy black best friend.
Cause you're gonna have to go Mark Furman on my ass.
Hawkeye, who's great in small doses. Ant-Man, who's there. Scarlet Witch, who's still doing vague hand-wavy stuff. And Bucky, the man whose haircut was frozen in the 90s. Opposing them is Team Iron Man, his quippy black best friend.
Yes, this is Tony Stank.
Black Widow, who's still scissoring anyone she can get her legs around. Black Panther, the king of giving monologues into the middle distance.
Dead. It's not the end. The mantle passed from warrior to warrior. If I can help one of them find peace.
Whatever the hell Vision is.
You know, I don't know what this is.
Yeah, neither do we, buddy. And the best version of Spider-Man, complete with a pre-murdered Uncle Ben.
Hey, I'm Peter.
Tony.
If Tony gives him the great power, great responsibility speech, I am so out of here. Thrill as these former friends become enemies thanks to the evil Zemo, a man out for revenge by framing the Winter Soldier for the murder of King T'Chaka, which will, hold on, I forgot. Can we roll Zemo's plan again? Yeah. Rex's car? Really? Stealing a book? Okay. Not sure he drowned in that sink, though. Okay, that makes sense. There's no way he knew those guys were gonna show up. Wait, so he called the maid from Russia? Ah, the old captured on purpose ploy. Someone's been reading Loki's plan. Ugh, this is dumber than Luther's.
Not a great plan.
Can we just play the airport scene again? Oh, that's so cool. He was like the size of an ant, now he's a giant. Experience a film that's more than just mindless action. It's also about love. Watch Tony Stark deal with the heartbreak of dating someone whose contract expired after Iron Man 3.
We're taking a break.
The weird flirtation of this weird British Christmas robot and this weird witch who puts him in the friend hole. And the greatest love story of all, as Steve Rogers once again pines for the plums of the man that only he and Tumblr really care about, as he tries to redeem this brainwashed killer caveman for the second movie in a row.
I don't know if I'm worth all this to you.
While ignoring two perfectly good boyfriends who are right there in front of his face.
We need you, Cap.
And now he has to go on the run before he can seal the deal with Peggy Carter's niece? 90 years old and this guy is still a virgin? Someone please have sex with Captain America already. Hell, you know what? I'll do it. I'll bend over right now. So go enjoy the hero versus hero movie that everyone loved, instead of the hero versus hero movie that most everyone hated, even though they're a lot more similar than anyone would like to admit. Featuring a non-superpowered villain, tricking a symbol of America into fighting a billionaire playboy, using an incoherent plan that includes blowing up a meeting of government officials, and using the hero's moms to manipulate them.
Save Martha!
I don't care. He killed my mom.
That ends with an ominous warning from a prison cell and sets up a universe worth of spin-offs along the way. Uh-oh. Cue the airport scene again.
Oh, come on!
Oh, that's better. Starring Barnes & Noble, Robert Downey Jr. Meh Lysandra, Awesome O, Jeremy Aggener, Put a Bird on It, Walkie Rowe,
Watch me
the spectacular
beat
Sony
the
Man,
Arby's Diablo
T'Challa,
Dare Challenge.
Womb Raider, another Blue Marvel villain, you know, cause he's sad, Brian Fantanta, and Giant Location, Headers, Vienna, Queens, 1991, Cleveland. Wait, there's no reason to get that excited about Cleveland. Captain America 3, Avengers 2.5. Boy, that escalated quickly.
That's you, right?
So how did Tony know that Peter Parker was Spider-Man? Would he just break into every teenage boy's bedroom in New York until he got lucky? Oh wait, hang on. That sounded really bad. After Ant-Man asked the question, you ever watch Iron Man, but small? Marvel's latest solo movie invites you to ask another. You ever watch Iron Man on
Surrender now.
Doctor Strange. Experience the grand illusion that you haven't seen this movie before as you sit through the heroic origins
reptilian
of a cocky
army
but capable,
is here to take
super
over
rich,
the U.S.
wisecracking
government.
workaholic with a weird goatee, in love with a red-headed subordinate, learning to be less selfish, played by a famous Sherlock Holmes actor. It's like Iron Man, but actually that's it. It's pretty much just like Iron Man. Magic has come to the Marvel Universe, and not that it's just science BS that Thor went on about.
Your ancestors called it magic, and you call it science.
We're talking acid trip 70s blacklight poster magic that bends space and time in new plot-breaking ways and uses mind-blowing effects to distract you from the fact that the action is still 90% punching. Shouldn't that hurt his hands? You cringed when he tried to do a southern accent.
Power didn't go out. I forgot to set the clock. I'm sorry, Mom.
You weren't sure if he was serious when he attempted a Boston one.
You know what, John? Good to see you doing so well.
Now, Benedict Cumberbatch will sound like an Englishman pretending to be a German man, pretending to be an American, in a feature-length tribute to Hans Gruber's accent in Die Hard when he gets caught by Bruce Willis.
Please, God, no.
Testing Halloween filters.
So
Part
much,
1.
Don't you?
Benny, Bubby, your natural voice is perfect. Use it. Joining the titular Strange on his journey from Act 1 protagonist to Act 3 protagonist are side characters and villains who are up to the usual Marvel standard. Chiwetel Ejiofor, who's just kind of there to explain things.
Temporal manipulations can create branches in time.
This is a relic. The sanctums protect the world, and we sorcerers protect the sanctums.
Mads Mikkelsen, playing a bad guy with weird eyes for the third time in his career, whose entire plan revolves around successfully ripping some pages out of a book to summon a malevolent demon who he hopes won't enslave the human race.
Not a great plan.
Tilda Swinton, a being of immense power, bravely guarding the Marvel Cinematic Universe from Asian actors.
She's Celtic.
And this cloak, with more personality than any of the human beings.
Stop.
Man, I want to see that cloak crossover with the rug in Aladdin so bad. Enjoy a visual masterpiece that has to be seen in 3D on a giant screen to be fully appreciated. Because when you watch it on a laptop, you realize just how much of it is medical mumbo-jumbo.
Testing Halloween filters.
Suboccipital cranial.
Ghost
I'm
face.
fusing transected spinal cords. I'm stimulating neurogenesis in the central nervous system.
Pass a stent down the brachial artery into the radial artery.
It's a complete C7, C8 spinal cord injury.
With a heaping side order of magic mumbo-jumbo.
The dark dimension makes them more powerful in the mirror dimension.
Saw the rituals in the book of Cagliostro.
I pushed your astral form out of your physical form.
The wand of a tomb. The vaulting boots of Valtor.
Pages of Caecilius stole.
A ritual to contact the marble and draw power from the dark dimension.
Wingardium Leviosa, me sideways, this is unnecessary. Just shoot laser beams out of your wand and be done with it. So enjoy a film that, despite its faults, doesn't fall into the third act trap of battling a CGI army and a skybeam, saves money by replaying the same scene 13 times in a row,
Dormammu! I come to bargain!
and sends a powerful message to the children. Modern medicine can't be trusted.
My spirit deepened, and somehow
Your body healed.
yes.
And don't text and drive, because you might end up turning into a wizard. Starring Benedict Wong, Benedict White, Bordeaux,
I am
Morpheus,
the candy clown.
You Mads Bro, Night Nurse, Circle
Corn
Hands,
Goblin, and no. I
Hands
am
on
the
hands,
candy
on
corn
hands, on hands,
goblin.
on hands, on hands, and Ricky Bobby Hands.
I'm not sure what to do with my hands.
Stranger Things. So, Cumberbatch did the motion capture for Dormammu himself? Man, he really likes to goof around in leotards, huh?
None can stop me.
From Marvel and James Gunn, the director and studio who surprised everyone with Guardians of the Galaxy, comes a cool-looking, super fun, laugh-out-loud, but ultimately kind of forgettable sequel. What? It's still better than all the other Marvel Part 2s, except for Winter Soldier.
Is that better?
Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 2. Blast off again with Marvel's Space Avengers, a team of misfits who learned how to work together in their first movie, then turned back into a-holes so they could learn it all over again.
You're like a professional ass or what?
In this playful action comedy where the heroes never really get hurt, the danger never really feels that imminent. And the jokes definitely don't fall flat. But let's be honest, they aren't as funny as the characters think they are. Okay, guys. It's funny, I know. Scale it back a little. Hey, let me decide when to laugh, all right? Ugh, just shut up. Catch up with all your favorite heroes like Star-Lord, who discovers he's the son of a god and a moron.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about, but I like the way you say it.
Gamora, who ditches the strong silent badass trope to become a strong silent badass with the more interesting sister. An ad for Baby Groot toys. Rocket, whose eyes don't work, apparently.
Damn it. I'm using my left eye?
I'm using my wrong eye again, aren't I?
Yeah, that's how eyesight works, you stupid raccoon.
Did I miss something? Newcomer Mantis, with the power of getting roasted by everyone.
You are horrifying to look at. I never thought she'd be able to do it with as weak and skinny as she appears to be. Oh, I'm imagining being with you physically.
Including herself.
I'm certainly grateful to be ugly.
And Drax, the once tragic warrior who's become an aggressively dumb sex freak?
Did you make a penis? I like a woman with some meat on her bones. My father would tell the story of impregnating my mother. I have sensitive nipples. It would make my nether regions engorge.
Okay. Look, you have a good thing going with Drax. Don't take it too far and Urkel your best character.
Ow! My nipples!
Prepare for an episode of My Two Dads in Space. In a film that's so high on friends being your real family, you'll swear you're watching a Fast and Furious movie.
I finally found my family.
I thought you already had. You are not friends.
You're right. We're family.
I don't have friends. I got family.
Space Dad 1 is Ego, the living planet of exposition.
I call it the expansion. It is my purpose. Now, it is yours.
As he proves everything's better with Kurt Russell, making Ego the living planet grounded and relatable, until he goes full Marvel villain and becomes a blue alien made of sky beams who wants to rule the universe, while Space Dad 2 proves that everything is better with Michael Rooker, as Yondu is retconned into a good guy who just wanted to be a good pappy, all to create maximum emotional impact when he's killed off in the most tragic Marvel death since, no. She was in her 90s, so he came back twice. He came back on TV. Quicksilver? Wow, I guess it's Yondu by default.
I'm very popular, y'all!
So get ready for a great time at the theater as they bring back everything you loved about the first movie. The music, the slow-mo walks, and the insane visuals. To the things you didn't think could come back, like the laughing at the dumb name bit.
Star-Lord.
Who?
Your name is... It's Taserface?
Rocket having someone steal a fake body part for him.
I was just kidding about the leg. What? No, I thought it'd be funny. Wasn't funny? He's not gonna know where his eye is!
And undercutting most of the serious dramatic moments with jokes, even the emotional climax of the film.
I tried so hard to find the form that best suited you.
It's okay, Marvel. We've been following these movies for 10 years now. You can let us go without a chuckle for 10 minutes.
Finally get to be the father I've always wanted to be. Excuse me, gotta take a whiz.
Maybe not. Starring Arthur Meme, Han Brolo, Greena, Warrior Princess, Big Blue Beetleborg, Drax Shepard, I Am Merch,
Star Fox, do a barrel roll.
Whistle While You Murk, Mantis Toboggan, Ego the Slutty Planet, and Ready Player One. Dad Rock, the movie.
It's called a Zune. It's what everybody's listening to on Earth nowadays.
Uh-oh, the Zune is from the early 2000s. I don't think Star-Lord's gonna be happy when he finds out what happened to rock and roll. Since 2002, we've had 6 movies, 2 reboots, and 3 Spider-Men. Now, just when audiences might be getting a little sick of the franchise, Marvel swoops in to deliver a crowd-pleasing comedy that's gonna keep Spider-Man in theaters until the f***ing sun burns out of the sky. Spider-Man Homecoming. Tobey Maguire couldn't keep it up. Andrew Garfield couldn't get it started. But Tom Holland hits the ground swinging in a great reboot that just assumes you're all caught up on the MCU.
Pretty sure this guy's a war criminal now, but whatever.
Complete with a glossed-over origin story, an actor who doesn't have premature old face, and a villain who doesn't already have some forced personal connection to Peter Parker.
I'm Liz's dad.
Alright, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Witness a brand new take on Spider-Man. He's a millennial now, who can't stay off his phone.
What is the current standard unit of
I take this real
radioactive-
quick? I'll only be a sec. Fine.
Constantly vlogs, watches himself on YouTube, and has zero patience for anything.
Hey, how long we been here anyways?
37 minutes.
What?
He's got all of the usual spider skills, plus a powerful new one. Never facing consequences for his actions, whether he's getting away with ditching detention,
Hey, where you going? Get back here.
quitting on his team,
You can't just quit on us, stroll up, and be welcome back.
Hey, welcome back, Peter.
falsely imprisoning people,
Shouldn't steal cars, it's bad. It's my car, dumbass!
wrecking a car, wrecking a store, wrecking a ferry, or wrecking his girlfriend's entire life.
Whatever's going on with you, I hope you figure it out.
You can be sure this web slinger will get off with no more than a stern talking to.
You're a good kid and you're a smart kid, so just try to keep your head straight, okay? Okay. All right, get out of here.
Wow, the older I get, the more I relate to J. Jonah Jameson.
He's a menace to the entire city! I want that wall-crawling arachnid prosecuted!
You've seen him as Batman and Birdman. Now, prepare for Michael Keaton's third winged creature role as the Vulture. He's a blue-collar guy who gets shafted by Stark Industries. And instead of filing a lawsuit against a billionaire clearly in the wrong, he'll build a giant bird mech jetpack? You'll be bored stiff when Vulture fights Spider-Man in bland CGI slugfests, but genuinely scared when he's just being Michael Keaton.
Were you scared? I bet you were glad when your old pal Spider-Man showed up in the elevator, though.
Sorry, Uncle Ben and Richard Parker. There's a new absentee dad in town, Tony Stark. Iron Man is back as the drunk rich stepfather you'd expect him to be, who'll build you a killer robot suit,
Activating instant kill.
send you into battle at 15, then literally phone in his parenting until you screw up enough to get his attention.
Okay, it's not working out. I'm gonna need the suit back.
Really, Tony? You just fought your best friend over keeping tabs on superheroes, and you just let your pet superhero run amok. Is anyone paying attention to the timeline anymore? This is approaching X-Men levels of sloppy.
So she sends Bishop back in time.
Melt just his consciousness into his younger self.
Wow.
So enjoy another Super Smash hit whose success was far from guaranteed, with 2 competing studios fighting for control, 6 different screenwriters, and a director with just 2 low-budget indies to his name. Dang, it's like Sony finally cracked the code on how to make the Spider-Verse happen. Let Marvel do the work. Starring Tom Netherlands, Drunkle Stark, Only Winners Do Drugs, Chef, the disembodied voice of Jennifer Connelly,
You can call me Karen if you would like.
Marissa Tomei, Vulture, or the unexpected virtue of casting Michael Keaton. Technically in the movie, Tony Ravioli, Mary Pixie Jane Girl, Hey there, Martin Starr now, Not your Asian sidekick, and Wonder Woman? The perks of being a wall crawler. Bold move putting a set piece in an elevator shaft. Spider-Man can't catch a break with that. From Marvel Studios. The new logo's still going? Alright, I'll wait. From... still going? Alright, here it comes. From... Jeez, how long is this thing? Just cut it off. Nobody has time for that. Great, now we're running behind. It's Thor. Thor Ragnarok. After the Dark World, Marvel is back with a radical new formula for the Thor films. Not making them suck.
Yes!
In an installment that trims all the dead weight off the franchise. From his love interest.
Sorry to hear that Jane dumped you.
To his homeland. To his friends you couldn't name with a gun to your head. To his right eye, to his dad, his hair. Dang, even his hammer? They just trimmed all the weight off, huh? It's like the whole franchise got on Hemsworth's steamed chicken diet. Abs. Meet Thor, God of Thunder.
Follow me on
who, despite
YouTube
being able to shoot lightning from his hands,
and
spends most of the film getting electrocuted.
Follow me on YouTube and Twitch.
When Thor's father, Luke, Skywalkers himself into the afterlife, his sister Hela, goddess of pointy things, will return to claim the throne in an epic family feud that will make you wonder, are we sure Thor wasn't the adopted one? Put him next to Hela, Loki, and young Anthony Hopkins and tell me he's not the odd god out. Thrill as indie comedy director Taika Waititi takes the reins of a giant superhero movie, because when you're part of a $14 billion global franchise, why TF not? Now it's out with the old and in with the jokes.
Behold, my stuff.
Where boring exposition scenes get tagged by jokes.
I will tower over the mountains and bury my sword deep in Asgard.
Hang on. Give it a second.
Badass moments get tagged by jokes.
You wanted to know who I am?
And even heartfelt emotional beats get tagged by jokes.
Piss off, Ghost!
Yeah, they overdo it sometimes, but this is a movie where an orgy spaceship shoots fireworks over the Rainbow Bridge where Hulk fights a zombie wolf. If your mad it tries to make you laugh too, you're doing it wrong. Follow Thor's exile on Sakaar, a collection of the galaxy's most colorful gladiators, garbage, and Goldblums.
Who's gonna get him first?
And thrill as it turns into the closest thing we'll get to a Planet Hulk movie, where Bruce Banner awakens to find he spent the last 2 years of his life as an enslaved killing machine.
I've been Hulk for 2 years? What the hell happened?
And take all of 9 minutes to get over it.
You want revenge?
I'm just undecided.
Together, they'll team up with new additions to the Thorniverse, like the depressive alcoholic Valkyrie.
Thanks.
A Taika Waititi made of rocks.
Perishable rock. Okay.
And a mute bug with knives for arms. And they still have more personality than the Warriors 3. Dodge that bullet, Lady Sif, but don't worry, you still got it coming. Enjoy the first Marvel film where everything actually looks like a classic Marvel comic book that reminds
What's up, guys? How are you? Thanks for coming into my room. What's up, everybody?